Good afternoon, One Young World counselors, fellow panelists, and delegates. I'm truly honored today to be the only delegate speaker from the Caribbean. I represent Guyana, which is well known for the majestic Kaieteur Falls, pristine rainforests, and the warmth and ethnic diversity of our people. Despite all these charms, there is stark inequality and a deep-seated racial divide which was entrenched by colonialism. There is an endemic culture of violence and disrespect, with daily cases of discrimination involving sexual orientation, domestic violence, rape, murder, and human trafficking, as there are in many parts of the world. Women in my country are chopped to death with cutlasses and burnt with acid and kerosene by their partners. Some are abused for seeking an education, not preparing meals on time, going out without permission, or refusing to have sex. The police send women home to their abusers, believing that the women deserve it. We are struggling to address the fundamental question of how to affect the kind of societal change needed to eliminate domestic violence in Guyana. This change can only occur through a multi-sectoral approach and with sustained political will necessary to implement a long-term and coherent plan of action similar to the HIV/AIDS response. We need to quantify the economic and social costs of violence to change the way society understands and views violence. In the greater Georgetown area, 1 in 5 women had suffered physical and verbal abuse. 1 in 10 suffered sexual abuse. Over 50% of women in an abusive relationship had experienced psychological symptoms of depression and anxiety. More than 65% had no knowledge of the Domestic Violence Act. This was especially the case for 77.3% of Indo-Guyanese women. One solution to gender inequality is for more women to become entrepreneurs, to take control of their earning power and branch out into male-dominated sectors. We have the power to transform the status quo. However, to do that, we need greater decision-making powers, equal pay, and access to opportunities at all levels of society. In this regard, I have set out to build a mushroom farm and a women's shelter. This facility would provide women with employment and education so that they could learn new skills and sustain the shelter. They can return to their communities, feed their families, and teach others. Investing in women's empowerment sets us on a direct path towards inclusive economic growth, gender equity, and poverty alleviation. Having been a victim of a vicious attack whilst at university, I am wholly dedicated to seeking justice for survivors of violence. I'm also personally involved in starting a Holla Back campaign, encouraging women to work together to end street harassment, ignite public conversations, and develop innovative strategies to tackle this issue. I have worked tirelessly to raise awareness of LGBT and women's rights, with other NGOs doing outreach in schools across the country. Because being gay is illegal not only in Guyana, but in the entire English-speaking Caribbean, we are calling on government to repeal the discriminatory laws against loitering and gross indecency, which are arbitrarily invoked to discriminate against LGBT minorities and often leads to human rights violations perpetrated by the police. This year, on February 14th, I was responsible for organizing 1 Billion Rise in Guyana, the largest public event held in the Caribbean region against violence and gender inequality. In 2014, the theme is justice. We're calling for justice for all victims of human rights violations on the international stage. We must take action now at a grassroots level in our communities through the use of social media, awareness campaigns, and projects to promote human rights and gender equality. The older generations in some countries do not see the need to change the ingrained social, cultural, and religious attitudes of subservience that women have been taught, believing that beating equals love. It is up to us to bring the older and younger generations together, because gender inequality undermines everyone's development. Together, we can break down the wall of gender inequality for women everywhere. I challenge you to take action, end street harassment, end violence, use social media to host discussions with youth, civil society leaders, and NGOs. This task is not too great. We are the generation that will stop the brutality. I thank you.